And it's at that place that he will meet with you and bless you. And you'll know that you're with him. When Moses came down from the mount, his face shone so much that he had to put a sack or a cloth over his head. Would to God we'd have some people that would meet with God until that happened to them. When Jesus and Peter, James, and John was on the Mount of Transfiguration, it said that Jesus glowed in the very presence of God. They said, hey, let's put up 3 buildings up here and we're just going to stay. This is good. Prayer will bring courage. Prayer will bring patience. David says in Psalms 130, verse 6, my soul waits for the Lord. And that's more wonderful, or more than watchmen wait for the morning. More than watchmen wait for the morning. Says it twice. My soul waits for the Lord more than watchmen. The watchman had one job. When daylight came, when the sun was about to crest right up over the horizon, he was to cry out. That was his job. If he didn't do it, he could die, be put to death. He would stand on the wall eagerly waiting for that moment so that he could fulfill his job. David said, my soul waits for God. Just like that watchman waits for the morning. The watchman knew that it was coming. The watchman knew that it was only a matter of time. Now, he didn't have a Timex or a Rolex or any of those X's on his hand. He had to watch. He had to anticipate. He knew that it was coming. The psalmist knew that it was coming. He would receive what he had requested from God. The answer was on the way. Remember, we used to sing that song, the answer's on the way, this I know. We used to, maybe y'all wasn't around then. That was a long time ago. Some of y'all are too young. Just as the watchman, standing on top of the wall, wet and cold and anxious and waiting for the sun, waiting for the morning to come. It would bring him warmth. It would bring him comfort. It would bring him light. And he desperately was waiting so that he could fulfill his job. David waited for God to grant that request so that he could be in the very presence of the Almighty. Patience. Don't like that word, do we? I prayed for patience. Within a year, I was in charge of children's church. Be careful what you ask for. God will give it to you, but maybe not in the way that you want. See, I just wanted patience. I didn't want to have to use it. But I found out something. Patience no good unless you use it. So I said, oh, God, give me patience. Okay. Let's give you 200 screaming kids. Yay. Waiting is a part of life's discipline. I fear for the generation coming up today. Because we don't know what it is to really wait. Wait to them is 10 minutes. I remember my dad's Proverbs. If it's worth having, it's worth waiting for. Dad, can I have a bicycle? You got any money? I got $5. Well, you're going to have to wait until you raise some more. You need to save. Because one of his other little things that he says, if it's worth having, it's worth saving for. Don't go into debt. Debt will own you. Today, all we have to do is whoop out some plastic. We forget that that bill's coming later on. we forget that bill is coming, and they're going to expect it to be paid. And if it's not paid, they're going to come knocking on your door and say, you owe with interest. Discipline, patience. We don't like it, but God often requires it of his children, that they exercise this wonderful but difficult grace. Patience makes faith stronger. It's been well said. Waiting has 4 purposes. Those of you who are going to be baptized, if you'd like to make your way, ladies on this side, gentlemen on this side. So you can go ahead and make your way back here to be dressed. 4 purposes of waiting. First, it practices the patience of faith. Faith is an investment. Faith, we want it instant. And God's liable to say, you're going to wait. I'll get to you. Number 2, it gives time for preparation for that coming gift. You know, sometimes we desire something long before we're ready to receive it. I wanted a 57 Chevy when I was 12. It wasn't 1957 yet, but I'd seen the drawings of it. And I wanted it. It was still a year and a half before it was coming out. But I knew I'd be 14 by the time I get it. Daddy, can I have one? He said, son, you ain't got no money. I got $10. He said, no, I got that out of your piggy bank last week. Even if I'd have got it, I wouldn't have been able to drive it. Sometimes we want something before we're ready for it. And it takes patience to wait. And we can get prepared for it. Some people want a husband or a wife long before they're ready. Some of you crazy enough to go on and get it. Then you wake up in about a month or a month and a half and say, what have I done? Like the wife talking to the judge. And the judge says, well, tell me what's going on. Why are you here? She said, well, my husband said that he was the ideal, but our marriage turned into an ordeal, and now I'm wanting a new deal. Be careful. My dad used to say, son, don't get in too big a hurry. You never know what fun was till you get married and then it's too late. See, my wife's not in here, so I'm on a roll. And she can't go on YouTube, so hey. Don't y'all give her a copy of this. I'm doing all right now. Yeah, now. The piper gets paid later, I'm sure. Number 3, and I'm almost through. It makes the blessing sweeter when it arrives if you waited for it and you've prepared for it. Sometimes the worst thing that can ever happen is that you and I get instantly what we want. Nothing will spoil a child any faster. And then lastly, it shows the sovereignty of God because he'll give you what you need just when it pleases him, more than when it pleases you. God is the giver of gifts. His blessings come our way when we can handle them. I don't know what you might need today. I don't know what might be building up down inside that you're willing to cry out to God for. But if you cry out to God and it's a desire of your heart and it's not contrary to his will, I'll give you my word that in due time you'll receive. Just continue to cry out to him. Bow your heads with me, would you please?